Welcome to today's drawing session. Together we will create a vivid picture of a cargo truck from the basic shapes to the details that make the drawing stronger and more realistic. If this is your first time drawing a car, don't worry because you will find it much simpler than you think. Prepare your paper pencil and a little patience. I will go slowly at each step, helping you to easily catch up and feel the joy as each stroke gradually creates the shape of a complete cargo truck. Now look at the white paper in front of you. Imagine our car lying horizontally with the front of the car on the left and the cargo box extending to the right. To start, sketch a large rectangle that occupies the middle of the paper. This will be the cargo box, the largest part, and also the main highlight of the drawing. You can keep the height moderate, not too low to make the car look heavy, nor too high to keep the balance. Don't worry if the rectangle isn't quite right. The important thing is that you have a framework to build on. Once the cargo bed is sketched out, move on to the cabin, where the driver sits. The cabin is usually smaller than the cargo bed, but has a lot of character details that make the vehicle look more realistic. Draw a smaller rectangle on the left side of the cargo bed, slightly higher up to create the appearance of the front of the vehicle protruding. Then from the left edge of this rectangle, you can draw a diagonal line down to create the front bumper, giving the cabin a more aerodynamic shape instead of being too square. Next, we'll create the windows. Inside the cabin, you just sketched out draw a slightly tilted quadrilateral that takes up about 2/3 of the cabin's surface area. This is the front windshield. You can divide it into two parts with a thin vertical line to create a more traditional truck feel. Also add a small square on the side of the cabin for the side window. With these two details, your cabin will start to look a lot more realistic. Now for the important part, the wheels. Cargo trucks usually have at least 2 wheels in the cab and 2 to 4 in the bed depending on the size of the truck. In this tutorial, we will draw 4 wheels to make the truck look more sturdy. Start with the 2 wheels in the front of the cab. Draw 2 large circles just below the cab with a small part of the circle embedded in the body of the truck to give the impression that the wheels are actually under the truck. Then move to the bed and draw 2 more wheels near the rear of the truck. The gap between the 2 rear wheels is wider to show the truck's load capacity. Don't forget to add smaller circles inside to create details of the axles and rims. You can add a few short lines around the edges of the wheels to create the feeling of tread, making the truck look more powerful and suitable for a vehicle that is specialized in transporting heavy goods. Once the wheels are done, go back to the bed and create some dividing lines to give the box some depth. You can draw some vertical lines on the side of the bed to give the impression of the metal panels being joined together, or add some lines at the top and bottom to make the car more solid. If you want to make the car more interesting, you can add some small boxes on the outside, but this is completely up to your style. Next, add the small but important details to make the car more realistic. Draw a rearview mirror on the left side of the cabin by sketching a small rectangle attached to a short connecting rod. Then you can add the door handles, the grille at the front of the cabin, and some curves on the front bumper to give the car a sense of weight and definition. Now take a moment to look at the whole sketch. If the front of the car is too small or the bed is too long, you can adjust it right away. Editing in the sketching stage is important because once you draw the lines, everything will be more fixed. Make sure your car is balanced and looks the way you want it. Once you are happy, start drawing. Using a pen or liner, lightly trace the outlines. Remember to keep the lines steady and even. The edges of the car and the frame of the cargo bed can be drawn with thicker lines to create a sense of solidity, while small details like door handles and glass dividers can be drawn with thinner lines to create a subtlety. When you are finished drawing, wait for the ink to dry and then erase the original pencil lines to make the drawing look clear and professional. Next comes the shading or coloring, depending on the style you want the drawing to express. If you want to keep the pencil drawing monochromatic, start shading from the bottom of the cargo bed and the area around the wheels to create natural shading. You can also lightly shade the glass to create a reflective effect. The cabin can be shaded darker at the bottom and gradually lighter towards the top to create depth. If you want to color, you can choose the color you like. Cargo trucks are usually white, blue, red, or yellow depending on the type of vehicle. Start with the large areas such as the cargo bed and the cabin, then move on to the small details. Dark gray or black is suitable for the wheels, and the glass can be painted with a light blue color to create a transparent effect. You can also add shadows under the wheels to make the car feel like it is standing on the ground. Once the color is complete, take a moment to review the whole picture. Sometimes just adding a few accent lines on the edge of the cargo bed or creating a darker shadow under the cabin can make the picture more vivid. If you want to create a background, you can add a road, some road markings or low buildings behind to create the scene of the car driving in the city or on the highway. Finally, enjoy your work. From simple shapes, you have created a complete, powerful, and technical cargo truck. This was not an easy topic, but you did it in your own way. Painting is not just about creating images, but also a journey of relaxation, concentration, and feeling the creativity inside you. Thank you for joining me in today's drawing session. If you want to continue with the topic of vehicles or any other topic, please share so that I can help you create more wonderful paintings. Wishing you a day full of inspiration and creative joy. Welcome to a relaxing creative space where we will draw an adorable panda together. Today I will guide you step by step so that from a blank piece of paper you can create an expressive, round, and cute panda character just like the usual style of this animal. You do not need to be a good artist. Just take a few minutes to relax your body, pick up a pen, and let your hands be guided by imagination. Before you start, look at the paper and imagine where your panda will be, maybe slightly tilted to the left, maybe sitting or spreading its arms as if welcoming the viewer. In this tutorial, we will draw a panda sitting in a comfortable position with big round eyes and a characteristic black fur ring. Let's start by sketching a large circle in the middle of the top part of the paper. This is the head. You don't have to draw a perfect circle, just sketch it out lightly to get the overall outline. Just below that circle, draw a slightly larger oval, slightly flattened horizontally. This will be the panda's body. Pandas' bodies tend to feel thick, round, and soft, so this oval can be slightly bulged out to give it a plump look. Then connect the two shapes with two soft curves to create the neck. Even though pandas have quite short necks, these two light strokes will help the body and head transition more seamlessly. Next, we'll create the characteristic round ears. From the top of the head, draw two small circles on either side, slightly outwards. You can make the ears slightly larger than normal to add to the cuteness, as pandas are one of those animals that are already cute, so round details often make them more sympathetic. Now for the face, which is where the soul of the drawing lies. Sketch a light vertical line down the middle of the head to define the axis of balance. Then add a horizontal line in the lower middle of the face to define the eye position. Pandas have very distinctive black eye circles, so this step will be very interesting. On both sides of the vertical axis, you draw two slightly tilted teardrop or leaf shapes, which are the black fur around the eyes. Inside these shapes, you dot a small circle for the eyes. Remember to leave a small white dot in the eye to create light, making the bear look lively and gentle. Next, in the middle of the vertical axis, a little below the eye, draw a small rounded triangle nose. From the bottom of the nose, draw a short line down and then divide it to the two sides to create the mouth. You can slightly curve the mouth to make the panda look like it is smiling. You can also add a small curve under the mouth to create a rounded muzzle. After finishing the face, we move on to the body. Pandas have large shoulders and a fairly round body, so widen the two body curves a little to create fullness. Now you can start sketching the arms. Since our panda is sitting, the arms will hang down to the sides or rest on the belly. Draw two slightly curved cylinders pointing down, then connect them to the small round hands. The panda's arms have black fur, so we will darken this part later. Now for the legs. When sitting, pandas often fold their legs in front of their belly, slightly protruding to the sides, creating a very cute pose. Draw two large ovals at the bottom of the body diagonally to the left and right. At the top of each oval, draw a few short curved lines to create the feeling of toes. These toes are also in the black fur area, so you just need to press lightly to create the shape. Once you have the head, ears, body, arms, and legs, add some small but important details. Draw a few gentle curves on the belly to create a soft feeling, or add a little puffiness on the cheeks to make the panda look rounder and cuter. If you want to make the panda more personality, you can draw it holding a small bamboo branch. To do this, simply sketch a thin bamboo stem diagonally across your hand, then add a few small, diamond-shaped leaves around it. Now it's time to look at the whole sketch. If there are any details that are out of proportion, such as the head being too big, the legs being too small, or the arms being too long, this is where you can make adjustments. Drawing isn't about getting it right from the start, but about gradually refining things to get them in harmony. Once you feel the overall look is right, start drawing the lines. Use a black pen or liner to trace over all the main outlines. Remember to keep your hand relaxed so that the lines flow smoothly and naturally. The fur around the eyes, ears, hands, and feet can be emphasized and drawn with a little thicker strokes to create a clear, dark light impression. Areas like the mouth and small folds on the face should be drawn with thinner strokes to maintain a gentle look. Once you've drawn the lines, make sure the ink is dry before you start erasing the pencil lines. Once the pencil is removed, your panda will look much cleaner and more defined. Now that we have a complete shape, the next step is to shade or color it. After you have drawn the outlines, make sure the ink is dry before you start erasing the pencil lines. Once the pencil is erased, your panda will look much cleaner and more prominent. Now that we have the complete shape, the next step is to shade or color. If you decide to use pencil for shading, start with the dark areas such as the ears, eye circles, hands, and feet. Use small even strokes in the same direction to create a smooth feeling of fur. For the body and face, you can lightly shade near the edges to create depth, but still keep the main part light because the fur on the belly of the panda is white. If you want to color, prepare black, gray, and white. For the dark fur areas, such as the eyes, ears, and hands and feet, you can use black or dark gray, then use a white pen or gel pen to recreate the light on the fur surface. The belly and face can be filled with a light gray to create a block without losing the main light tone. Don't forget to add shadows under the panda's feet to make it look like he's actually sitting on the ground. When you're done, take a look at the whole picture again. You can add a simple background like some bamboo branches behind him or some fallen leaves, or keep the background blank so the panda is the focal point. Depending on your style, each picture will have its own unique personality. Finally, take a moment to enjoy your work. From the initial simple sketches, you have created an expressive and adorable panda. It's always a pleasure to complete a picture by yourself, and each time you practice, the picture gets better. Thank you for accompanying me on this journey. If you want to draw other animals or have your own theme, let me know. Have a creative and fun day.